Welcome to the Life Engineering Podcast. My name is Gabriela Embon, former chemical engineer, relationship coach, and author. In each episode, we'll uncover the wisdom, strategies, and tools to help you build thriving relationships and purpose-driven careers. My wish is that something shared in this space touches your heart, brings clarity, or gently guides you toward what you need most in your life right now. Thank you for being here. Let's begin now. Welcome back to another episode of the Life Engineering Podcast, where we explore what it truly means to create a life of no regrets in our work, in our relationships, and in our alignment with purpose. I'm your host, Gabriela Embon, relationship and marriage coach and author of Becoming a Power Couple: 4 Pillars to Engineer Legendary Marriages. Today, I'm especially excited about this conversation because the patterns we are about to explore don't just show up at work, they show up at home as well. And in life engineering, we say this often: what isn't designed will default. And when it comes to leadership, whether in business or in relationships, default systems quietly create overload, resentment, and burnout. At work, it looks like this: decisions bottleneck at the top, teams wait for approval, everything escalates back to the founder. At home, it can look quite similar. One partner carries the mental load, decisions stall without one person, ownership isn't clearly shared, different environments, yet same structural issues. So, my guest today is Chris March. And Chris helps leaders fix this at the organizational level. Exactly what I described. He's an executive decision advisor with over 20 years of experience as a GM, COO, and advisor across Australia, the UK, and Canada. And yes, today he is connecting from Australia, so I'm going to ask him soon what time is it there. Chris works with B2B service businesses where growth has outpaced structure and where capable people are stuck waiting because decision system itself is broken. Chris called this the founder gravity, and today we're going to explore how redesigning decision systems at work doesn't just free leaders professionally, it creates the capacity for healthier relationships, presence, and partnerships at home as well. Chris, welcome to the Life Engineering Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited for this conversation as well.
Me too. And before we get going, I have to ask you, what time is it there and are you in the future?
I am in the future. It's 7 a.m. local Sydney time. And for all the listeners out there who may be a little bit behind us in Australia, we're one of the first time zones in the world. The future is looking bright ahead in 2026.
There you go. That's all we needed to hear. Well, Chris, I'm really excited to learn more about what you do. But before we dive into Founders Gravity, um, I want to learn more about you. And I know you have a rich story, and we probably won't have time for to learn to hear your rich and entire story. But what is that you feel the listeners need to know about you in order to believe what you're going to be saying?
So for me, it's a great question. And my life has really been, the compass for me has been around travel. I've been very fortunate to travel and live in different parts of the world. And the person that I am today, how I show up, a lot of that is centered around leadership, is around travel. I've been fortunate to travel to over 80 countries.
Wow.
And I've lived in the UK. I lived in London for 2 years. And then I came back to Australia, and then I moved to Canada in 2009. I worked my way up into senior leadership roles there and was pivoted and moved to Toronto in 2017, worked in a senior operations role during the pandemic, which is another story we could talk about. And I lived in Canada until 2025, earlier last year, where my last role was the COO of a travel management firm. And during the pandemic, I pivoted into what I thought at the time was going to be my next option, which was executive coaching. So for the last 4 years, I've been an executive coach in addition to the work that I do day to day in the travel industry up until Canada. And then most recently, when I moved back to Australia, I've been advising 7 and 8 figure founders to help their businesses grow and scale. And then complementing that, I've been evolving my business, and it's now in the States where we talked about, or you kindly introduced, the work that I do directly with service based business owners who are stuck in that founder gravity. So I work with founders, COOs in that space where things are scaling and not moving as quickly as they should be. So that's a quick synopsis of what I've been doing and where I've come from.
80 countries.
Yes. The
Okay, I
joys of
probably we could do an entire episode about that. Just about that and asking you different questions about different places in the world.
yes.
But
So I worked in the travel industry for 17 and a half years. So you get into the travel industry if you're passionate about travel. And that passion for travel was ignited when I moved to the UK from Australia. And for anyone who's listening who's an Australian, your rite of passage is to move to the UK. So that's really where it started, and it just escalated and elevated from there.
wow, you cross a lot of items in bucket lists.
Hmm. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. But the beautiful thing, and anytime I share that, it's not to boast. The thing that I look at that is there's so many beautiful places. I'm inspired. There's over 150 countries in the world. There's so much more for me to see, and there's so many places I would love to go back to. The world is a lot closer and connected and smaller than we truly think. So travel is always been something I love doing, and if anyone has the means to do it, the best investment you can ever make is to travel.
I guess there are two ways to find out that we are not so different and that we're all interconnected. You either travel to different places like you did, or you go to space and look at the Earth from above and you see how tiny it is. I think I prefer your way. Okay, pivoting to what you do today in organizations, I want to talk about founder gravity.
Hmm.
What is that? And why is it important to
Hmm.
understand that dynamic?
So it's important to understand it because in a lot of service based or in all industries, you can become the bottleneck in a lot of different ways. Where if you're a founder, typically you build a business that scales and you built the business yourself and you're extremely passionate about it. And as you scale a business, you can only scale it to your own capacity, right? And as you bring in different people, different strengths, a lot of the decisions are ultimately going to flow back to you. So anyone in business knows kills deals. And if you're taking a lot of time to delay on certain deals and as your business grows, it's important for you to allow the business to move without you. So your business shouldn't rely to move on you solely. So it's ensuring that you put the right decisions in place and the parameters so you aren't becoming the bottleneck because as you scale, more and more decisions are going to become more important. So that's where my work comes in to ensure that you are not becoming the bottleneck and everything can flow and move with you. So that's the shorter version of what I do with founders and COOs.
So I can imagine that sometimes some of them might feel like, oh, this is a personal failure, right? Like I need to do
Yes.
better. I need to do
Yeah.
better. And what do you tell them? How do you explain to them that this is not about competence, but about structural failure?
Structure and systems. And a lot of the times I won't work with people if they don't believe that they know everything. A lot of people say, well, I don't need your help or nothing's structurally wrong. So why would I need your help? So if they're not open to giving up the keys or being open to having hard conversations such as you're sharing, then we won't work together. It won't really work. But there is a level of letting go, which you see in businesses all the time is the hardest part. Letting go. You've built this business, you put the sweat equity into the business that you love, and it's gotten you to a certain level. But in order for you to get to the next level, there's certain things that are going to have to change in order for you to get there. And one of that is relinquishing control. If everything flows through to you, you can't do everything else which matters in the business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see, but I can relate to the fear of letting go.
Oh, it's fear in everything, right? It's the fear of letting go, fear of trusting someone else to do something as well as you. And this comes up to your point in the introduction around relationships, marriage, in everything, in partnerships, in my relationship with friends, everything. You have to trust the other person, and trust has to be reciprocated in order for it to be successful.
So, well, definitely what you just said, I see similar patterns in relationships. One
Mm,
person becomes the default decision maker,
mm-hmm.
or even I don't trust my spouse, you know, with this, whatever that
Yeah.
is, the
Mm-hmm.
children, the food, whatever
Mm-hmm.
that is. What parallels do you notice between unhealthy decision flow at work and unhealthy dynamics in personal life?
It's taking the time where decisions as an executive or anyone who's a business owner knows you have to make a lot of decisions every day. There's cognitive load that you may be overcome with. I have too many decisions. I cannot make these decisions. So those are the common patterns that come up. And if you're not able to make a sound decision, you start to question yourself. If you don't have a good network or people around you from a business, it's your systems, right? Your people around you, then decisions feel a lot heavier than they need to be. They're replayed over and over and over again. So if you're not making the right decisions in business, the right or wrong decisions can impact you positively or negatively from an income perspective, from a relationship, partnership perspective. So there's a follow on effect for making those decisions. So you need to make sure that you have the right systems and whatever that system internally is for you to ensure that you're making them every day.
I also see that if I'm making decisions unilaterally, it's I
Yes.
get to choose, and I
Mm,
don't either take into consideration my team's perspective or bring them into the decision,
mm,
and then it ends up being the wrong decision,
yeah.
then I lose their trust and my ability to pivot and course correct,
Hmm.
right, is limited because they go, well, you wanted to do this.
Hmm.
We were forced to to follow without being taken into consideration. Now you want to, now it's for you. You made your bed, basically. Deal with it. But when
Yeah.
you take, right, when you take your team into consideration, when decisions are made together as well, and you make a mistake, then you don't lose their trust. And it's much
Hmm.
easier to course correct and say, okay,
Yeah.
let's take a step back and try something else.
Absolutely. And I think your point is that you want to involve your team as much as possible. I think the best leaders and best operators know that everyone has a different perspective, that they can bring value to that decision making process. Because if you're protecting it, and we can use this in many different forms, if you're protecting your decision and you only see it one way, and then you roll it
Really
out
love
to,
it.
yeah, you roll it out to everyone, you expect them to own something that they've had no part of. That's where the trust can be lost automatically. And as a leader, you have to take responsibility for the good decisions you make and the bad ones that you make, because we all make bad ones. We just got to be better at learning from the bad ones and the good ones, to be fair.
Yeah, I see that in relationships all the time. When
Yeah.
people don't make decisions together, and I mean for everything, for what
Mm,
tiles we're going to put in the kitchen to where we're going on vacation or how we're spending our budget, when people don't make decisions together and something goes wrong,
mm,
then you have two teams, one
yeah.
against each other, right?
Hmm.
But if we made that decision together, even if one was more, one agreed to it, but still you
Hmm.
agree to it, then there's a
Yes.
shared responsibility, a shared ownership. So you protect the relationship, the trust.
Yeah. It's
And
a
you also
team.
understand why the other one is making those decisions, which is equally important.
Yeah, and the team is stronger. You're stronger together, not separate.
Yeah.
That's
So you
that's
can
the big.
see how, yeah, go ahead, please.
No, I was just going to say that's where you see the bigger difference is you're better together versus being two individuals, right? That's where I think that really shows up. And I'm curious to ask you, what is the four pillars that you have for relationships?
Oh, I'll name them.
Mm.
Um, the four pillars described in the Power Couple method in my book are
Yeah,
me, with
yeah.
me, you, our, and us. So me
Ah,
is self mastery, personal responsibility,
mm-hmm,
um, accountability, right? Not
mm-hmm,
outsourcing your happiness to your partner or using your
mm-hmm,
partner as a punching bag.
mm,
You is helping your partner in their self mastery, being like a very good friend, knowing them, understanding them, respecting them.
mm-hmm,
Our is working as a team, it's the operational pillar. It's our
mm,
life as a common vision, and how do we make decisions together. We are two co-founders who manage our assets, our money, our children, you know, all our resources together. Decisions are
mm,
made together. There's a lot of communication, collaboration, coordination.
mm,
And the last pillar is the us pillar, which is
mm,
the true unity, the intimacy. So we
mm,
need the first three to create safety,
mm-hmm.
to build trust and connection, and to avoid chaos, because chaos kills intimacy, right? So I we can take those pillars into the business world as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Without the intimacy, obviously, because then HR gets
Yeah.
involved. but but we can find that in any type of relationship with the right adaptations.
Yeah, and intimacy could be the vulnerability piece, being able to have when I hear safety, it's psychological safety. You trust that other
Exactly.
person to present them and turn up as the person that you are. So I see a lot of parallels between your pillars and the work that needs to be done in order to run a successful business and a successful team within that structure as well. So I like the pillars.
Thank you so much. And thank you for asking. Now, my turn to ask you.
Okay.
We talk about the 6 skills leaders need in today's world.
Mm. Hmm.
And you've distilled 6 critical leadership skills for the next phase.
Yes.
Can you share what they are and how they support not just execution but sustainable leadership and growth?
Hmm. Yeah, so that was on the back of the World Economic Forum. Every single year they release a study around the most essential skills that are going to be required in 2030. This study was, and I thought it was really interesting study because everything that you've learned up until this point has to be pivoted and changed because we're going through this revolutionary shift in the corporate space and humanity overall with the skills that are required in the workplace and the six different the six different skills were really different but also very similar. So the first one which always comes to mind is the ability to learn, continuous learning, to have the ability to learn, and I think that's always going to be important, especially in today's world because there's so much information. If you look back what happened last year versus what's happening this year, from an AI perspective, let's use that as a compass. Things moving in lightning speed, the world, the information that is presented to us. So, in order for you to stay relevant today, tomorrow, and in the future, you need to stay continuously learning. The second part of it was influence, so better named as leadership. And for anyone who is listening, you don't have to be a leader per se. You don't need a title to be a leader. I say this all the time. Leadership is a verb, it's an action. You're a leader to your kids, you're a leader to your partner, you're a leader in your community, to the team of people that you may coach your kids' soccer team. You're a leader regardless of your title. You earn your leadership through the actions that you do. So focus on that. Third one was around AI literacy. So we all know hugely that AI is going to be a huge part of the future. So what can you do to remain relevant with AI? And that's a very broad understanding, but being able to, everyone I think would be familiar with ChatGPT at this point. We're all using ChatGPT for good, hopefully. So as of now, AI still requires a human. You need to end-to-end prompt it. So how can you upskill in that space? How can you become better to use it in your personal and your business life to become more effective? What are the mundane, repetitive tasks that you can automate personally, professionally? Thirdly, the next one was around communication. I strongly believe communication is a skill that everyone needs to learn. The better you can communicate in business and in life, the better the results that you will have. I'm sure you resonate with this. This is a big part of the work that you do in relationships. I know this is a skill that I believe I'm good in, but I also know that I want to continually grow in this space because you can never truly master communication. And when I say master communication, it's not just verbal, it's also listening, the auditory side of things as well. So, how good are you listening? How are you turning up your body language? 70% of communication is also body language. So, how do you communicate and how do you listen as well? The fourth one, if I remember correctly, was around having a growth mindset. So it's different to continuous learning, but being able to understand your ability to learn new skills is not fixed. You can continually learn new skills. A lot of the time, we believe the way we're born, leadership is a born skill. You're born as a leader. No, you can become a good leader over time, and it's continually something that I'm learning and growing with. The fifth one, if I remember correctly, was number literacy. So being able to understand numbers really well. So that is something that is needed in the commercial, in the business space as well. So how well can you understand numbers, process them, and then communicate them out? And the sixth one, if I remember, I am struggling on the sixth one. I do believe from memory.
You named six already.
Oh, did I? Oh, sorry, I named six. Yeah, I thought I had named six. So sorry, I missed. I said three two times. So yes, that was six.
So you named learning, leading,
Yes,
influence and leadership,
correct.
AI literacy,
Yes,
communication, growth mindset, and number literacy.
correct. Yes, I just have my numbers mixed up. So thank you for confirming. Yeah, so
Um,
these are huge life and business skills that have been identified, and I think it's a big shift from not also a big shift, but also there's a big opportunity for people. What you can take from that is everything you can do there is self learned. You just got to put in the work to do it.
well, thank you for sharing that. And I want to focus on one, which is learning or curiosity, right?
Yes. Mm,
You say always be curious.
mm,
Leadership starts with curiosity, and curiosity leads to learning, right?
yes.
Exploring. So, how does curiosity change power dynamics in
Hmm.
teams? I can tell you how it changed power dynamics in relationships, but I'm
Yes.
curious to hear how does it change power dynamics in teams?
Ask better questions to get better results, firstly. Second part is typically we're so busy. Everything we're focused on moving to the next task, to the next task. And to your point around chaos, I hear chaos a lot. Always be curious. If you go back, remember when you were a kid, or if you have kids, when they're just learning, evolving, asking all these different questions, they're constantly curious. By asking the right questions, firstly, you're showing that you're engaged with people. Number one, you're
Mm.
engaged with them. Secondly, if you ask better questions, you get a better understanding of where that person is coming from. And then thirdly, by asking those better questions, you can then support those people. You're not just assuming something, you can assume and say, this is what I feel. I see you turn up this way. By you asking that question, you can clarify where they are, and you can meet them where they are and then help support them moving forward rather than just rush and have a conversation. Are you good? You good? How are you? Oh, you're great. Okay, have a great day. That's how people turn up, right? It's how are you really doing? What's going on in your world? What can I do better to support you? And there's a number of different questions that you can answer based on that, but ask better questions and you'll get better intentions to help people.
I love that. You show you care, and you
And it,
develop deeper connection. Yeah.
yeah, and I think it comes back to leading with kindness, and this is something that I've always lent on. Is it's very simple. Lead how you'd want to be led yourself. Turn up and lead how you'd want to be led. If you've had the same, if you had the best leader in the world, envision that best leader in the world, and then go turn up and be that person every single day, and do that to your people.
Yeah. Beautifully said. So I want to circle back to the decision making
Mm,
process, the hub, when
mm,
leaders are the hub. If
mm-hmm.
someone who's listening realizes that, oh, okay, yeah, that rings a bell. I am the
Mm.
center of everything at work or maybe
Yeah,
also at home. What's
yeah.
the first redesign that they should consider?
Well, the first step is of anything is becoming aware that it is a
Yeah.
problem aware, and then you have the intent to do something about it. So you're problem aware, and then intent to find a solution. So typically that could be I talk to my partner, or I talk to someone within the organization, or I'm dependent on myself and I'll just work through it. That's a lot of people just do that themselves. But if you're problem aware and then intent to find a solution, go find that solution provider, whatever that may be. It doesn't have to be myself. It could be your COO or your life partner in your personal world. Talk to people and have those conversations and be vulnerable with yourself and be vulnerable with others, because we're all going through something in some way, shape, or form, and the people around you will do their best to support you and lift you up. So be problem aware, be intent on finding the solution, whatever that looks like.
Thank you. Can you recall an organization that you were advising or perhaps visiting that you
Mm,
said, wow, they have such a healthy decision
mm-hmm,
making system? I wish
mm-hmm,
every company would do that. This is a role model.
mm. A lot of it comes back to cadence around communication, having good systems and rhythms in place. So what I mean by that is, as a leadership team or a personal team, I know we're talking a lot about what you do and personal relationships, having a consistent time where you can make decisions collectively.
Hmm.
Either that be once a week, once a day, whatever that rhythm needs to look like, depending on your revenue, your volume, the decisions that you make, stick to it. If you're a large organization, maybe it's daily. If you're a smaller organization, maybe it's weekly. Or if you're a partnership at home, it's daily. Whatever that looks like, stick to it, put it in your calendar, make sure it happens. Otherwise, life gets busy. You default into everything else. Put it in your calendar, ongoing meeting once a week, 5 times a week. And I promise you the consistency through that, the conversations, the challenging of each other, asking better questions, you'll get to the decisions clearer. And it's also important to have the follow through. And this is where you can help each other be accountable, depending on the size and the frequency of the conversations. But do the things consistently well, and things will follow through.
Well, I love what I'm hearing so much. I call this in the relationship world
Mm,
operational rituals. I tell couples, look, there are two types of rituals, and you cannot have
mm,
in today's busyness, you cannot lead a healthy relationship without rituals because everything gets in the way. So rituals allows us to stop and to say, this matters, this is meaningful, right?
Yes.
So, okay, we want to have rituals, then we separate them into operational rituals
Mm-hmm.
and connection rituals. So operational
Mm-hmm.
rituals, they are more the our pillar, the operational pillar.
Mm-hmm.
They are meant to keep the relationship coordinated, right? They make decisions together and they avoid chaos. They bring more flow. So
Mm.
it's exactly whether we once a week plan the week or we have a 10 minutes coordination talk every night. Let's look at tomorrow, who's picking, who's doing what. So this is the operational aspect that you were describing. We have it. And then we have what we also call connection rituals that are meant to keep the relationship connected, the two of you connected when we're really busy. How do we make sure we stay emotionally connected? Uh,
Mm.
and in organizations, this could look like team building, right?
Yes.
Having a retreat,
Mm.
right? So you can see the similarities. But one is to ensure that operations run smoothly and there are no last minute scrambles as much as
Yeah.
possible. And
Mm-hmm.
decisions are made coordinated and together. And also you can support, like you said, accountability, because if I don't know what you're going through at work, I cannot support you, right? And the other one is meant to keep the emotional bond and protect
Mm-hmm.
the relationship emotionally. So it's incredible how the way we do one thing is how we do everything. So we see when people apply those principles at home, it's much easier for them to apply them at work and vice versa.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. The operating system, I have a very similar system that I work with the founders that I do. So it's very similar. And it's, I think the big thing around this that I always resonate with, simplicity is always the best thing. Keep it
Oh
simple,
yeah,
keep it structured. So I love that. I love that. It's great.
yeah, absolutely. Um, we're getting to the end, but I have one more question because we want to give the audience, the leaders who are listening, that feeling of what's possible, right? We want to
Mm,
leave them believing. So
mm,
when decision systems are applied and healthy,
yes,
what does leadership feel like in a daily life?
easy. Like riding a bike. You can turn up every day. Everything should feel comfortable. You know where you need to be. You know when decisions need to make. You know when the follow through comes through. Everything is, to your words, everything is done by design, not by default. We're removing chaos. We're creating structure. You know exactly what your day looks like, when those decisions need to be made, the guardrails that are put into place, and the follow through from there. Keep it simple.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris, for sharing so gracefully your experience, your wisdom. I mean, I have. I would love to hear more about the places you visited, but we don't. We'll maybe do another episode. But can you please share with our listeners where they can learn more about your work and find you?
Thank you. Thank you again for having me, and would love to have a conversation at a separate time. I have a lot of great travel stories throughout those years. So, to get in touch with me, there's two ways. You can find me on LinkedIn. I actively post content on LinkedIn around leadership insights and also what's happening in the leadership span landscape and future of work. So feel free to reach out to me there. Also, you can get me on my website, which is Chris March Coaching, one word also.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you again
This
for having me.
a pleasure. This conversation is a powerful reminder that leadership isn't about caring more. That's what I find. Sometimes I feel like we believe it's about
Yeah.
designing better systems. And
Mm-hmm.
when decisions flow at work, leaders regain capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And when ownership is shared,
Mm-hmm.
the relationship can breathe. And when
Mm-hmm.
structure supports life, careers and partnerships stop competing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all about balance. And that's what the life engineering mission is all about. So,
Absolutely.
dear listeners, thank you for being here with us today. I appreciate and cherish you spending time with us. If today's conversation resonated and you recognize founder gravity or its personal equivalent, it might be time to redesign how decisions move. You can connect with Chris for any confidential executive advisory. We're going to have the links in the chat. And please remember to subscribe and rate our podcast to the Life Engineering Podcast so you can get informed of future episodes. Until next time, keep designing a life of no regrets. See you in 2 weeks.